everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I thought I'd better show my face in this vlog. You've seen lots of clips already, but you haven't seen me. And sorry for the passage of the scenery going by. I am in my car, I'm not driving. There's Ed, he's driving. So I thought it'd be a good time to check in and let you know what I'm up to this weekend. So this is mid-month book bash, and I haven't been doing very much reading at all, sadly, but I have done some reading. So what I'm working on is a great improvisation by Stacy Schiff. This is her nonfiction book that looks at Benjamin Franklin's trip to France to try to get France to help support the American colonies in their fight against the British. I apologize for there we go, that bright light. So yeah, so he's in France, he's just arrived, and this book just details the couple of years that he was in France trying to drum up support from the French for the Americans as they fought the British. It's really good. Stacy Schiff just writes nonfiction so well. She really, she's humorous, like just a lot of humor in how she writes it, and it's so it just really keeps your interest and kind of makes you want to keep going with it. I'm really enjoying that. And then the other thing that I'm reading this weekend so far is this book called Downeast: 5 Maine Girls and the Unseen Story of Rural America by GiGi. And I just picked this book up yesterday, and I'm already started it because I couldn't wait. I wanted to read it. I didn't even know this book was coming out. It just has been released. It's a 2021 release, and it's all about my county. It's all about Washington County, Maine, and this woman followed 5 girls in my county for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, and sort of talked to them about what it's like to grow up in rural Maine, their high school, what their high schools were like and what types of things they were involved in. And so, of course, I wanted to read that. It's just amazing that there's a book written about my little area of the world. So I'm super excited to see what this one is all about. So I will continue on, hopefully getting more reading done tomorrow. It is Saturday right now, so we're already 2 days into mid-month book bash, and I have not completed anything, but we'll see how I get on, and I will check in again with you later. I have to laugh because Doris was singing that. Hey there, just a little check-in about this book that I've been working on. This is Downeast, Five Main Girls in the Unseen Story of Rural America by GiGi Georges. And as I had said before in this vlog, I think, I had not heard of this book until I saw it in the bookstore on the new releases table, and I picked it up. And it is a nonfiction book that follows five girls in my county, Washington County in eastern Maine, which is the most rural and the most poor county in the state of Maine. And it follows these five girls from one high school and the communities around that high school, and tells their stories of the challenges they faced growing up in a poor rural part of America. And the thing that I'm finding really interesting about this book, not only just because it's about where I live, so it's very familiar to me as far as the landscape and the the economic realities and the social realities, but the lens that the author is using to explore these girls' lives is that her theme is that girls have to cope with more in these environments than boys do, and girls are really leading the way. Girls and women are really leading the way, the path forward through the social and economic complexities in rural America. So she chooses to follow these five girls in order to demonstrate how different experiences are for girls and women in these challenging environments. And I think that's a really interesting lens, because when you think of especially economies that are based on natural resources, there's always the men that you hear about. If it's fishing, it's men. If it's, working in the woods, it's men. Farming, it's men. But in my experience, it is true that community leaders often are women. The teachers are women, the medical people are women, and the women are really holding the families and the communities together. And that's what this author is trying to discuss and demonstrate in this book. And so it's very, very fascinating. And it's also very, very sad, because the social issues that are impacting my county are very real. The drug use, we have some of the highest opioid addiction and death rates in the country, while being one of the smallest populations in the country. So everybody knows somebody who struggles with addiction or who has died because of an overdose. And, these five girls are no exception, and they are trying to navigate their own lives while dealing with all of these social problems in their communities. So it's super fascinating. And while I don't love particularly the writing style, I think the author, who has moved to Washington County but is not from Washington County, maybe overly romanticizes certain aspects of Washington County. I appreciate that she also loves the beautiful nature and appreciates the hardworking characteristics of natural resources based economy and the people that work within that economy, and also people that are so far removed from all of the sort of social safety nets of the world. I appreciate her feelings about that, but I do think she's maybe overly romanticizing some of that, and so that keeps niggling at me a little bit. But overall, I think it's a really interesting perspective, and I'm really glad that I picked it up, and I'm really glad that I'm reading this. So you will have seen that I was also working on my book on my iPad, Northwest is Our Mother, which is a book that I'm buddy reading with Sean the Book Maniac, and we've been working on it for a couple of months. We read 2 chapters a week, and it's about the Métis nation in northwest part of Canada, which is an indigenous tribal group. So that book's very interesting as well. I'm learning a lot about not only the Métis, but other Indigenous groups in the northwest part of Canada, about the beginnings of the Canadian government and the sort of atrocities they committed against Indigenous folks and First Nations people. So that is something we will continue to work on. We're only about halfway through that book. So yeah, just wanted to mention that one as you saw a picture of me reading it earlier. Anyway, I will check in again, I'm sure. It is Sunday, so we have a day and a half left of the mid-month book bash. Okay, there. I figured I'd better wrap up the mid-month book bash vlog here and talk a little bit about what I get up to in terms of my reading. I did finish this book, Downeast by GiGi Georges, and I really liked it. I don't think it was a perfect book by any means, but I did like what the author was trying to do here. I think that there is some excellent points that she makes about what it's like for girls and women in rural America, in small places with, limited economic opportunities and lots of social problems like there is in my county, Washington County. And I appreciated that the focus she was taking on these issues was from the point of view of how women and girls are like coming to the forefront and taking on a lot more of the leadership roles and the sort of driving new things to happen. So I appreciated that aspect of this. I do think the author has a little bit of rose-colored glasses on when it comes to Washington County, being as I'm a resident my whole life of Washington County. I think I'm probably a little more critical than she is of certain things, but I do appreciate her love for the region and her, how she views what's happening here. I do wish that she had delved a little bit more deeply into some of the social concerns. I think she stays really on a surface level with what's happening to the five girls that she's primarily focused on following. There's allusions to and references to, drug abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, things of this nature, but they're really just touched on. They're not delved into in depth as to why this part of the world has so high, the statistics are so high for these social problems. She doesn't really delve into, why that is and the context around that. And I wish there had been more of that. But it does really talk a lot about community and faith and family. And so those aspects of small town rural life, I think she does very well. So yeah, overall, I think this was a good book. Not a 5-star read for me, but a nice exploration of the place where I live. And I enjoyed being able to read about the place where I live because it doesn't happen very often. I also read another chapter in A Great Improvisation by Stacy Schiff. That's the book I'm buddy reading with Patrice, and about Ben Franklin and his efforts to get the French to come on board and help support the Americans at the beginning of the American Revolution. And still continue to enjoy that. She has a lot of really great factoids and information about the different historical people that were involved in that. And it's sort of like a madcap group of people that are all just spying on one another. And it's so funny the way she writes it. And Ben Franklin is quite a character himself. He's 71 years old when this is all happening. And just revered by the French people for his scientific discoveries. So yeah, that one's really enjoyable too. So I'm going to be continuing on with that. And that's it. That's what I've done. That's what I've been up to this weekend. I think it was pretty successful. I didn't, it wasn't totally focused on reading, but I had a lot going on. And I hope you've enjoyed some of the scenery as I moved through my weekend. And I look forward to next month's book bash. Talk to you soon.